Hello and welcome to this episode of Kennedy Saves the World. It's Kennedy here from day number 3 at the DNC. It is the place to be if you want to pander to thee. There's a lot of pandering going on inside the United Center. I wore my Jordans yesterday because I'm not a heathen, and when you enter Michael Jordan's home, you wear his shoes. I think everyone knows that. The speeches, by and large, were pretty boring yesterday. I was worried about Bill Clinton. I know they've got a real age problem in the Democrat Party, and he is still somehow, he hasn't been Me Too'd out of existence as a Democrat, and he has not achieved cancellation, which is shocking considering some of the things that he has allegedly done in the past and has actually done in the past that so many Democrat women were virulently opposed to for so long, yet he was there on stage looking very frail, speaking slowly, with a weak and raspy voice. And I remember watching him in 2020 thinking how much energy he had. And he actually kind of outshone President Obama in 2012. But this was not the case last night, and he even said, this may be my last convention. It's like, what the hell is going on? Nancy Pelosi is 96 years old, and she's still going strong. She still has lots of plans for the 2028 convention. Oh, she's going by gum. And then, of course, there was Oprah, who is turning into Megyn Kelly. Everyone's like, oh, my God, Oprah looks so good. And I looked, I was like, oh, my God, Oprah looks exactly like Megyn Kelly. They're becoming the same person. Are they doing the same thing? Maybe seeing the same hairdresser and the same position for the same thing that one puts in one's body if one wants to shed weight quickly, which is obviously just hard work at the gym and maybe a keto diet and some intermittent fasting. I'm sure that's what they're both doing. Oprah actually kind of electrified the room. They were, I would say, more excited and kind of tuned in to the elements of her speech, which, there were some historical parts. She said that she's an independent, which I don't believe her because in California, you mark the box unaffiliated voter. It's not independent because the independent party is something different in California. So I don't believe Oprah when she says that she's an independent. But her speech was absolutely outreach to people who are tuning in to the DNC coverage for a little bit. They see Oprah and they're like, oh, I like her. I hate everyone who's running for president. But if Oprah says vote Democrat, then why the hell not? When they announced Oprah, the place erupted in the loudest cheer that I had witnessed, and I'm convinced it's because everyone in that room assumed that they were getting a car. And you know what? I wouldn't put it past him to go ahead and buy votes. I know that Chris Cuomo was losing his mind on News Nation because there were rich people who had bought out the super fancy suites. And that's why they build suites in arenas like this, so rich people buy them and spend a lot of money. Pete Buttigieg, his speech was a total snoozer. And it's really fun watching these guys who were completely sidestepped in this coronation process. I saw Josh Shapiro coming down the hallway in the bowels of United Center coming off stage, and he was surrounded by this man posse, and he was walking like Floyd Mayweather before a big fight. That's Josh Shapiro, the governor of Pennsylvania, whom a lot of people thought that Kamala Harris would tap to be her VP pick. He has so much swag. He has whatever that charisma is, whatever the riz, the drip, he has it in spades. And I took a picture with him. I haven't looked at it. I don't know if it's flattering. If it's unflattering of me, I won't post it because it lives forever, doesn't it? So Josh Shapiro, and when he walked by, I was with a group of Democrat women, and I looked at them, and I'm like, huh? And they're like, wow. And they're like, whatever he has, whatever it is, he has it. And that's why Kamala Harris didn't pick him, because his speech was poignant. It electrified the crowd. He is smart, articulate. He gets to the point. He speaks to moderate Democrats seamlessly, and he's got so much more charisma and energy than she does. There's no way she would want to stand with him on stage. And for her, it's all about being next to someone who does not outshine her. Tim Walz does not outshine her.
Don't go anywhere. More Kennedy Saves the World right after this.
Tim Walz is an incredibly boring yet dangerous person, and as I pointed out in my Daily Mail column today, also a compulsive liar, not only about his military service, but he does this very odd thing. And it's this weird appeal where Democrats are mashing together different reproductive issues. And so now it's like abortion and IVF. So it's like babies on demand. And it's like, I want to get rid of a pregnancy and I want that to be celebrated because it's so gentle and wonderful when we talk about reproductive care and killing an unborn child. But then at the same time, they talk about the importance of IVF. And, I share their urgency and not wanting to get rid of something that has helped so many people become parents. Because when you are resorting to spending tens of thousands of dollars in order to have a child, when you are creating embryos, and, especially for women, it is a very, very difficult process. And also an incredibly emotional one. So Tim Walz goes on and on about he and his wife's fertility treatments. They didn't have IVF. IVF is in its own category. It's in its own class. They had something called IUI, which is intrauterine injection, which is basically where you fill up a turkey baster and you splooge it inside and hope for the best. And it worked for them. And I'm very happy for them that it completed their family. But, having a baster full of baby batter is not the same thing as taking drugs that make you produce more eggs, that give you hormonal imbalances and make you completely emotional when you already feel like your body's a failure. And then you have to harvest those eggs, create embryos, store them properly, hope when they are implanted that they take, and when they don't, it is absolutely soul-crushing. Tim Walz and his wife did not go through that process. But for some reason, he has this stolen valor, not only with his military service, but also with his wife's fertility treatments. It's like he's using her as a prop, as though, talking about IUI isn't enough. Or, just having compassion and empathy for people who go through IVF, if that's not enough. That is enough. Stop lying. It's weird. I know that is the adjective of this presidential season, but this whole thing, Tim Walz cobbling together pieces of his story that are an utter falsehood, that is weird. It's not going to get any less weird tonight. Beyonce is supposed to perform. I was on America Reports talking about some of the country acts who have been performing here. And as you know, Beyonce's latest album, Cowboy Carter, was a country album. So maybe she's going to be here, maybe she won't. There are a lot of rumors. And I think it would make a huge impact on the night. It would certainly be exciting. John Legend was so good last night, performing Prince cover, which was awesome. And that was the lead up to Tim Walz. It's like you had Amy Klobuchar's like, I eat salad with a comb. And John Legend, let's get nuts, woo! And then, of course, you had Tim Walz put everybody to sleep, including the New York delegation. I was standing next to them. They all left before the end of his speech. That's how scintillating it really was. So I will have more from the DNC tonight. I will have more in the Daily Mail tomorrow. And I am always here caressing your soul. This has been Kennedy Saves the World. I'm Kennedy.
Listen ad-free with a Fox News Podcast Plus subscription on Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Prime members can listen to this show ad-free on the Amazon Music app.
Oh, go ahead and leave me a review while you're there. I'd love to hear what you have to say. You've been listening to Kennedy Saves the World on the Fox News Podcast Network.